Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface with another episode of AzChats. And if you don't know what AzChats in, it's much more podcasty as opposed to visual. This is a feast for your ears, not necessarily for your eyes. So if there's something that you want to get on with, either the dishes, doing a bit of housework, you want to play a video game, simply crank up the volume in the background, listen to what I'm talking about, and you can get on with something at your own will. That said, I will be putting some images of the cutscenes in the video itself. So if you do want to have a sneak look at some of them, feel free to have a quick gander. But this is a dissection of the Siege of Orgrimmar end cinematic and therefore will contain huge spoilers. The vast majority of people haven't got anywhere near Garrosh. So if you don't want to know what happens, turn the video off, I forgive you. But if you don't mind spoilers or you just do want to know what happens, then stay tuned, I will go through it all and give my honest opinion. You've had your final warning, spoilers in the vid. Okay, let's get to it. So the cinematic starts with quite possibly the biggest shock. And I'm not necessarily saying this is a shock as in a good thing, like a ooh. I think for a lot of people it'll kind of be like a oh, because Garrosh doesn't die. He actually survives this encounter, and I've got to say, personally, as a wee bit gutted, I thought we were going to have some closure here. And true closure. I thought at least one big name was going to fall, and the first big name on that list was going to be Garrosh Hellscream. It seemed that he was so far beyond what he could have potentially have been that it was time to finish him for good, but no. Blizzard have actually decided to let the guy survive. For whatever reason, I don't know if they've got something lined up for the next patch, because there's going to be at least one more patch before the next X-Pack, or he could potentially come back in a future X-Pack, maybe as a villain, maybe looking for redemption, who knows. But I've got to say, I would have rather have seen the guy killed off than survive. But enter something pretty ridiculous. First of all, Thrall tries to end him. Fair dues. Fair play to you. And Varian stops him, saying, no, it's not the Horde's decision alone to decide what happens to Garrosh. And Thrall has a little bit of a dick contest with Varian. They have a spat. He says, well, I'm not handing him over to you. And then Taranzu. This is where things just get stupid. Taranzu, old pincushion himself. That guy has been stabbed so often in Mr. Pandaria, and like the proverbial bad penny, just keeps on coming back. And he says, well, I tell you what, it's the Pandarians that have suffered the most at Garrosh's hands. We will take him away, and we will put him up on trial in Pandaria. And Thrall and Varian agree. What? Are you freaking kidding me? Really? You want to hand over the biggest war criminal in the World of Warcraft history to a bunch of pandas? I mean, when we first arrived on Pandaria, although the conflict between the Horde and Alliance caused the Shah energy to go all wibbly wobbly woobly woobly, they were still massively under the cosh against the Mantid. The Mantid were kicking their ass. If we hadn't arrived, whether it be Horde or Alliance, they would have probably got wiped out. So they can't even control a bunch of flipping insects. It was us that saved their asses. And we're happy to hand over Garrosh Hellscream? Whew. I tell you what we probably didn't see on the cinematic is 2 minutes out of walking out the door, he probably just smacked the two pandas' heads together, walked off, he's sunning himself in the Bahamas right now. Go, go howl. And all that kind of stuff. Honestly, it just seemed a ridiculous decision, but it seemed a decision simply made because they had to tenuously somehow tie in Mr. Pandarias to pandas. You know, if Thrall or Varian had made the ultimate decision what happened to Garrosh, then maybe Blizzard would think, well, you know, we didn't really have to be in Pandaria at all, did we? Which we didn't. We know that. We didn't have to be here in the first place. None of the major storyline really particularly involved it. Yes, we got the Shah, but in all fairness, the Shah storyline was pretty tenuous. The storyline itself, the true story of Mists of Pandaria, was Garrosh Hellscream's fall. And that's what it was all about. It didn't have to be set here. And that's why I feel a lot of us wanted closure. And ultimate closure, Garrosh dead. Now then, this is where the cinematic breaks up after Garrosh gets carted away in chains into two separate branches, depending on whether or not you play the Horde or the Alliance. Now, if you play the Horde, then we see Vol'jin trying to appeal to Thrall and say, dude, the Horde needs its true war chief, and Thrall agrees. But enter again, probably the most unanticipated plot twist. Thrall says it's not going to be me. It's you, Vol'jin, that held the Horde together. It's you, Vol'jin, that maintained the honour of the Horde. You are the true war chief. And if you will lead, then I will follow. And let's face it, who didn't see this coming? We've had a couple of red herrings thrown around the place as regards to the war chief with Lothar Theron, but realistically, could Lothar Theron have been a legitimate war chief? No. You know, it was only kind of speculation by us thinking, oh, wouldn't be cool, wouldn't be funky. It had to be Vol'jin. The only surprise, in inverted commas, was the potential for Thrall to say, you know what, okay, I will come back as War Chief then. But due to the fact that he has been a massive hippie over the course of the last few years, it seemed a little bit unlikely. Thrall seems to be the bridge character between the Horde and the Alliance, and to remove him from that bridge, who would replace him? It wouldn't have made a lot of sense. Vol'jin has also always been at loggerheads with Garrosh since his appointment as War Chief. This isn't a new development. Even in the very beginning of Cataclysm, you have Thrall and Vol'jin talking together. Vol'jin saying that he doesn't like this one bit. He'll keep his eye on Garrosh. And lo and behold, that whole storyline escalated and escalated until we got to patch 5.3, where Vol'jin decided enough was enough after the assassination attempt, and he would take Orgrimmar by force. Whether or not the Alliance joined, he would go in with the Dark Spear. He was always going to be the logical decision for War Chief. But, that said, it's not a bad decision. Thrall is a cool dude. He's respected, he's intelligent, he's tough, and he's definitely the war chief to lead the Horde into the future. So although it wasn't an unexpected twist, it's very much a good twist, because we know now that the Horde are in very, very capable hands. So how the storyline progresses from here on in, we shall have to see. Now, before we get to the end part, let's now flip over to the Alliance, because while Thrall and Vol'jin are talking, and where all the other heads of the Horde are all giving their acknowledgement that Vol'jin is the daddy, on the other side, we've got Varian and we've also got Jaina. And Jaina now is just a shell of who she was. The woman is batshit crazy. She's a complete and utter warmonger. She's poison. And it's just so far removed from how we know Jaina Proudmoore, it seems a little bit now unrealistic. Yes, she had Theramore destroyed, and that was a traumatic event for her. She was tortured by the Horde. She has a lot of hatred towards them. But look what she did in patch 5.1. She wiped out all the Horde in Dalaran. Dalaran is no longer a neutral city. It is an alliance city. All the Horde destroyed. So you would have thought that she had some sort of satisfaction by this, but no, it just seems that she wants more and more and more and more, and she whispers her poison into Varian's ear that this is the time to end the Horde for good. Attack them now while they're at the weakest. Let's see if we can end this battle once and for all. And she has this look of malice in her eye. It seems very vindictive. It doesn't seem the logical decision. It just seems that she wants more bloodshed. And bloodshed is something we'll get on very soon. Varian then decides to make his move. He calls his guardsmen to action, and for a fleeting moment, we think that maybe he will go in for an attack, and we will see what we've been wanting to see. The full-on conflict between the Horde and Alliance. Who would fall? Who would survive? What would be the outcome of this? But no. Varian actually goes up to Vol'jin, and they have this wonderful moment where he cries out that he will speak to your war chief, and you have these Orgrimmar grunts. It's kind of acting as a little bit of a wall, and then they part like the Red Sea, and you have Vol'jin stood there just looking badass, and then behind him you have Thrall on his shoulder saying, look, he is the war chief, not me. And you have this little look of surprise in Varian's eyes, because he was expecting to see Thrall standing there saying, yeah, I am the war chief once more. So that moment was pretty cool. But Varian thrusts his sword into the ground and approaches Vol'jin unarmed and says, look, a lot of people have died. A lot of the Horde actually did fight against Garrosh. So I'll tell you what, this is the time to end the blood shed between us. Now let me just go on to the topic of bloodshed for a second. Because throughout the cinematic, we see a colossal gulf between how the Horde and the Alliance are treated. And I'm not saying this because I currently play Alliance. I played Horde for 4 years. And I've played Alliance for about 2.5 years. So I've actually played the Horde a lot more than I have the Alliance. And when we saw the cinematic of the Horde, we saw all the leaders. None of them fell. Not one of them fell. All the leaders there united. We then see a little bit of a cut back to the Alliance side, and we've got, well, we've got the Night Elves, and then we've got Anduin, and then we've got Jaina, we've got a couple of Dwarves, and then we've got Varian. And it's just like, no Draenei, no Worgen. And you just kind of like, are they just sat there? And, you know, they got the dude in Exodar just going, hello, Varian, you said I could come to Orgrimmar. I can't even see myself in the cutscene. Yeah, it just shows that the Horde side seem to have virtually all their leaders now doing something, apart from Galux. I don't think Galux is doing anything. But on the Alliance side, we've just got a lot of dead wood. It's pretty much Jaina, Varian, and they are it. Anduin now coming into his own. These 3 humans, and then we've got a whole multitude of Horde bosses on the other side. So I thought that was quite interesting, to say the least. But Varian decides to try and end it like a tough guy, and turns around and says, but if you bring dishonor, or this uprising starts again, then we will end you. And it kind of feels a little bit hollow, to be perfectly honest with you. This, to me, feels as if the Horde have once more had their day. They have the war chief that they wanted. Loads of people wanted Vol'jin to take over, and it was the logical and right decision to make. And the Alliance once more look weak. They come to Orgrimmar, they help them defeat Garrosh, and then they just turn around and walk away, go, oh, let's be friends. But I tell you what, you do it again, I'll do it again, we'll come back, we'll smack your asses. It's just like, ugh. There was no reparation, no nothing. There absolutely should have been reparation. And what's surprising is Blizzard basically just came out with a couple of lies. A couple of big-ass lies. First of all, they said that Orgrimmar would be a bloodbath, and it wasn't. Nobody got killed. No major characters got killed off. So it wasn't a bloodbath at all. So we were expecting some big decisions to be made. Lo and behold, no big decisions were made. Secondly, And this is the lie that I don't understand, is that Blizzard announced recently that the War Chief for the Horde, the new War Chief, would not be announced in patch 5.4. You would have to wait a little longer for that decision. Now, I fully understand if Blizzard wanted to keep the War Chief decision a secret, but you don't just lie. It diminishes your respectability. It diminishes your credibility. If you didn't want people to know that the War Chief, the new War Chief, was going to be announced in patch 5.4, then you just don't say anything. You don't say anything, or you lead them down a different avenue. Just say, well, it might be, it might not be. You might have to wait a little longer. So you plant the seed in the mind that actually maybe you're going to get it in the next patch leading up until the new expansion. But you don't just come out with an out-and-out lie and just say, oh, by the way, new War Chief not being announced in patch 5.4, it's going to come later. By the way, new War Chief! Oh! Come on. God, you're grown adults, men and women. Just think of a better way to market yourselves. So all in all, I've got to say, the Horde definitely come across as the winners from the cutscene, but there seem to be some bananas decisions, letting Garrosh, first of all, Garrosh surviving, letting Taranzu and the Pandarans take away Garrosh? What? Oh, that just beggars belief. The non-surprise of Vol'jin being named as War Chief, but still the right decision to make. The fact that there was no bloodshed in the Siege of Orgrimmar, which kind of leads to a massive disappointment. We wanted to see some major decisions being made there. We wanted to see some big names getting knocked off, and that could have led to exciting avenues for what the future might bring. And also, we now have the fact that Blizzard has said that this expansion will end on a high note for the Alliance. Well, due to the credibility of what we've seen so far, I'm not counting my chickens. I'm really not. I have yet to see anything that Blizzard have done on Mr. Pandaria to make this not look like another Horde victory. But there we go. Let me know what you think. So please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook and also twitch.tv/Heel vs Babyface for live streaming. Did you like the cinematic? Did you not like the cinematics? If you've seen them, what are your thoughts and feelings about them? Did you think the Horde came out on top? Do you think the Alliance came out on top? Do you think it was a bit even? Why did Blizzard say it was a bloodbath when it wasn't a bloodbath at all? Lots of things to discuss. Lots of things to discuss in the comments below. And also, remember, if you do want to like it, click the thumbs up button. Seriously, ram that thumb up. Ram that thumb up so hard, I want to question my sexuality for the next 6 weeks. But more importantly, I will be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.